My son, who's in 5th grade, asked me who was my Valentines. Oh, actually, he asked me if I could help him figure out how to get a Valentine's.
Oh, wow. Fifth grade.
Because the pressure is on.
Yes, and a lot of people, like, first of all, Lavera was wondering where that men's conference is going to be. Is it in Kenya? Is it in the US? Is it,
Are you just going to put me out there and show my
naivete? No, but you're not the only one. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who hear about this.
Jeez.
They even see the schedules, but, the location is usually, like kind of classified because, it's only invitees.
Is the location in your head?
It's classified.
Okay.
It's classified because, it's not anyone who's allowed to go in there. So people want to know, want to try to find out where did it come from, who goes there, who's on his way there, who's going there, and what was the purpose of its creation. Or is this just one of those ploys where men are trying to escape from Valentine's Day? I remember those days when rugby used to be on Valentine's, rugby sevens. So that was, that was a very convenient excuse. But rugby moved away from Valentine. So now people had to go back and put in the hard work that you're supposed to put in during Valentine's Day. But I'm going to give the floor to you, Uno, and maybe tell people a little bit, people who are not familiar with the men's conference.
I can't wait to hear this one.
Yeah.
Pablo might be at the door.
Yeah, Pablo might be right there. I mean,
I think
Pablo is.
Pablo could be at the door.
So
he might even be the guest of honor.
So Valentine's is not on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Valentine's is on Monday.
On a working day.
But anyway, how many of us even know where the origin of Valentine's Day is or was? You know what? Let me start, Madam. Origins of Valentine's Day. Where is,
actually, this is a really good question because tonight my son and I were Googling. My son, who's in 5th grade, asked me who was my Valentines. Oh, actually, he asked me if I could help him figure out how to get a Valentine's.
Oh, wow. 5th grade.
Because the pressure is on.
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah, because yesterday, it was a big thing yesterday.
5th grade, buana.
Yeah.
Not even 5th grade, like I'm seeing even 3rd grade, like they're having, like some Valentine's parties in schools.
What I can say is that from like maybe kindergarten all the way to like 3rd, 4th grade, a lot of the Valentines are addressed at school with the teachers because everybody brings a Valentine for everybody. So you got to bring something for the whole class.
So it's a celebration.
Yeah. But then when you start getting to 4th, 5th grade, these are kids who are starting to get prepubescent.
Unajipanga.
They are starting to be a little bit more aware of who they want to be hanging around with. So the conversation for us this week was, Mommy, should I ask so-and-so to be my Valentine?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Do you know the origins of Valentine's Day?
Yes. The origins of Valentine, according to Siri, was that it's supposed to be linked somewhat to some biblical reference. I can't remember exactly what, but if you ask Siri or Alexa, they'll tell you it was basically to celebrate some biblical somebody.
Okay.
So how it ended up being about love, I don't know.
Well, as for Siri and them, I almost.
I don't know.
Ali?
I have no idea. It's always been there, and I just thought it was a day of love.
Mika?
Man, I've had so many theories and stuff to believe it. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I know. There's so many theories out there. I don't know where it came from. All I know is just that it's a commercial holiday.
What we can agree on, it's a commercial holiday.
It definitely is.
That's one.
Yeah.
2, from the kidogo, what I've had, it boils down to, it used to be a pagan celebration.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
Pagan, meaning not necessarily Christian, but ideally it used to be, and people can go and ahead and research and whatever, it used to be like the key, like now Cupid was the child of a person who was a mama and another god. Kid was born, and when the kid was born, you know, the mama was a god of prostitution or whatever. Anyway, ideally, Valentine's Day, the genesis was used to be a pagan celebration, and then after a while, it translated to the Catholic Church decided to whitewash it.
Okay.
And because there are very many Valentines. So there was this guy, there's always this story about this guy who, there was an emperor who used to marry people in secret, used to give them the supposed key or code or whatever, that they would not be drafted to go into war. To a point where the emperor decided, you know what, I'll stop this pause. And Valentines was put in jail and eventually executed, beheaded.
Oh, so Valentine was actually someone.
Well, I mean, the story is career, because there are very many in Catholicism. There are several Valentine saints. So, but this one guy, you know, guys were being drafted. Guys will be drafted. So, like now, Ali. But if you get married, you won't be drafted because you got married.
Because you got married.
So most guys used to get married in secret, and then they'd be given they'd be given something like a stamp or something to let the soldiers or the guys who are coming to recruit that you're married, so you'll not be drafted to go to war. So the emperor, I think it was Calisius, or it was one of the emperors anyway. They put a stop to that. They're like, you know what, say Valentine's and get ndani.
Yeah.
So of course, you know, guys were like, at his last letter was to my Valentines, you know, not to my Valentines, your Valentine. So that's where you have to my Valentines or whatever. But anyway, according to history and according to historical texts, Valentine's Day was initially a pagan ritual that used to happen.
Okay.
And apparently what used to happen is, you know, animals would be slaughtered, the skin. Then what would happen is guys would go around whipping mamas. Whipping. Yani kona nyahunyo.
When was this? I mean, how long ago was this?
Boss, this is like not it was
Not-
AD, not before Christ.
Okay.
AD, it was
but
AD.
but kitambo, a long,
But it
long
was
time
kitambo,
ago.
kitambo.
Hundreds of years ago.
Please, not even maybe 1,000 plus.
Okay.
Okay. So like Lavera would be somewhere, but she would wait to be whipped because it was, you know, once if you get whipped, there's a possibility of finding a mate.
That you might,
There's
you
also
might get something.
and also fertility. No. And also fertility. So you'd be whipped, fertility, I'll get a jaba. But again, when you hear the story, it is something that I don't think Kenyans would be ready to hear because, you know, it involved orgies. It involved career. It involves Jew, like, you know, like when you go for a bash,
Yeah.
a certain bash, names are put in or whatever it is, you know, like Omosh picks a name, Ali picks a name, Mika picks a name, and those names that you pick, female.
You manage
You
challenges.
mnakutana.
You
Then
manage
you have
challenges.
you have 1 year to manage my challenges. Then
Yeah.
the next year you can come. If not, if you guys mmesikizana na huyo umechukua, mnaweza endelea na kuendelea.
So she becomes from a fishbowl mama to your real mama.
To a real, yes, mama of the house. Again, I was not there. I am just sharing what I learned.
That was
and
some
I
extensive research.
And it's in the 400s, the
And-
four something AD.
And I don't want somebody saying at yo, I'm like, yo, even if you contradict, you are not there. And I'm not reading the comments, but I know Ali is about to read the comments.
Yeah. So Pablo is saying Valentine's is a man's pressure valve.
present day. But initially, just to provide context, initially, it was when it was the whatever was sanitized by the Catholic Church.
Yeah. So it wasn't something good, but it was sanitized
No,
at some
it was
point.
sanitized.
Okay.
So they decided to
Yeah, to honor Saint Valentine.
yes, and also it was around the time of the weather was changing or something. There was a harvest, some stuff. So it's Valentine's Catholic. The guy was executed on the 14th.
Okay.
So again, that is just to provide context.
Okay, Grizzly Proxy anasema yani watoi washaanza kufunzwa shule, done deal generation. And then Pablo anasema, so can we conclusively agree that Valentine's has no specific genesis and explanation
None.
of what it is?
Tell him to go home and say that to his other half. See what happens.
But now Ida
no.
agrees with Pablo. And then Grizzly hapa anasema many of these holidays are so pagan related. And then Pablo anasema OneMic is going down a very confusing and dark hole. Can he quote the source of the info he's sharing? Tumetoka kwa nyaunyo to orgies.
Juju.
And I mean, you know what? In fact, there's a 3-minute documentary on History Channel. In
About
addition to
Valentine's.
another 40 about.
Okay. All right.
In addition to 14 minutes video plus other resources that I read that
tuende
I'm like,
basi
very
kwa
confusing.
Okay,
but
so
it's
kuna
really
sources hapa.
Yes.
But outside that historical context.
Yes.
We want to establish something here.
Yes.
You know, and it's good that Lavera was kind enough, you know, like to stay.
And grace our presence.
Because this balances the conversation.
Uh-huh.
This balances the conversation.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to ask this very controversially. You know, because as guys, we sit and sometimes, you know, like the conversations about Valentines are really positive. Like, you know, let's be honest. This is
No, they're not. They're not.
amongst guys.
Amongst guys,
They are
negative.
They're really positive.
Whether they are married or not.
Yeah. So
Hold on. Let me look at the video. Whether they are married or not, it's not positive.
yeah, you know, and here we are revealing man code number 485 section 3 part B, you know, which we're not supposed
We're
to
not
reveal,
supposed to, but it is
because if
what
it's
it
a
is.
people's kamkunji, we are gonna give you guys a bit of leakage of what sometimes happens there in the man's world. So Lavera, real quick, is it, you know, like when you know, like when ladies are talking about when girlfriends are talking about Valentines and everything, is there, you know, like so from our perspective, you know, like women love Valentines, you know, they love some women, they love getting the flowers, they love getting the chocolate and all that. But now, you know, like, is there ever a conversation on what men think about Valentines now when you're with your girlfriends, for example? Does that conversation ever come up?
I don't think there's a conversation that ever comes up about what men think about Valentine's. But what I can tell you is that every woman, irrespective of the age range, wants to be appreciated. So I feel like for a lot of men, if you don't want to have to deal with the pressure of Valentine's Day, appreciate your women all through the year. So that Valentine's doesn't become that moment when you're supposed to...
A pressure
That
valve.
doesn't
Yeah,
work.
a pressure...
I will tell you
Yeah,
as a man, it doesn't work.
Oh, well, let me just
You
finish.
will appreciate the whole of the year.
But no. There's appreciation, and then there's those grand gestures. Because Valentine's is really about the grand gestures. Because you could, like you said, yes, Mika, I agree with you to a certain extent. You could be doing all the little things that appreciate your woman. But then every once in a while, like for me, a man sending me flowers on Valentine's Day is not going to do anything because I buy my own flowers. I love buying myself flowers.
All right, okay.
So when I go to the
Domesticity.
grocery store to buy groceries, I pick up flowers for myself because I love doing that for myself. So it's not so much about, it's about appreciating on a regular basis. And those grand gestures are what women are looking for on Valentine's Day. And a lot of it is not so much because they're looking for you to validate their value in your life or for you to show them how much you mean to them, but it's really, for me, in my humble opinion, and other women out there listening could be disagreeing, but it's about, hey, guess what? Ona vile nimefanyiwa Valentine's, you know, showing up to your friends what you've been done for. But if your guy is consistently doing those things, you're getting flowers delivered, you're getting things addressed for you on a regular basis.
And he skips the 14th, everything is gonna be okay.
I don't know if he needs to skip the 14th. He at least needs to show some level of acknowledgement.
There we go.
and the acknowledgement, depending on the nature of your relationship, could be him coming home and just making dinner. There doesn't need to be a big grand gesture about it.
All
but
right.
if he's consistent, the girl's not going to care. I have a female friend who's married. She's been married for 16 years. And she said to me the other day when I talked to her, I said, hey, so what you guys doing on Valentine's Day? She's like, me and Bae, Valentine's for us is every day. I love him every day. He loves me every day. So I'm not looking for a big thing on Valentine's Day. We're going to hang out with the kids. We're going to open Valentine's that they brought in home from school, and we're going to hang out.
Okay, good. Mika had, Mika was going against what you were saying. So Mika, bring in your point and respond to, what Lavera was saying.
Okay, now what I would say is this, as you asked Ali, you asked a question. If you do this every day, you appreciate your woman every day, and this little gesture is a big gesture in everything you do, right? The thing is, people have always said men forget important days. Men don't forget important days. We do remember those important days. The issue is that on those important days, anniversaries, birthdays, Valentine, everything, the burden of romance is usually put on the man, right? It's the man who's always gifting. The man rarely gets something back. On one occasion, they will get a gift. And those gifts, I've had this conversation so many times in various platforms, in Clubhouse, on Twitter, and we've asked women, why are your gifts to men sort of like an afterthought? A socks, boxer,
tie,
cologne,
you know what?
tie.
Can I interject for a second?
Hold up. Let me finish. Okay, that's why it's something, and then most of them say that men are difficult to gift. And if you look at it, men are the easiest people to gift because men show what they love the most out open. If it's a football team, if it's somebody who likes to DIY, if it's somebody who likes to adrenaline, if it's somebody who likes being outdoors. Like, men don't hide what they love. It's always out there, and gifts can be centered about that. Now, if we come back to Valentine's, I can ask you, Uno, you made plans for Valentine. I can tell most of the guys on chat, most of the guys in the show, Omosh, I'm sure you made plans for Valentine's, right? If I ask you, what plans has your significant others made for this day? How many will sit here right now, calmly on Monday, expect to be told, dress up, let's go for dinner? It's you who has to go book a reservation for a place. It's you who has to buy flowers, reach up, buy clothes. And that is what I say. There are things whereby you can do for the whole year. But there are those specific dates as a man where the burden of romance is laid barely on your feet. And you have to do them. If you don't have to do them, you must buy flowers for the rest of the year.
Can I just
keep the 14th?
Okay. Aya, Mika. We, point taken. Maze, kuna mishale hapo umetupa yani. Yani makata mimi nilikuwa naogopa, but Lavera, you seem to disagree with some of what Mika is saying.
So I think maybe also because I'm of a certain age, I can address from my viewpoint. I think it also depends on where you are in your relationship and the type of relationship you have.
Yeah.
So if you are truly in a partnership, the level of expectation of Valentine's Day shifts. It changes. Yes, we want to be appreciated. We want to be made to feel special. But if you're talking about what I would expect as a 20-year-old versus what I expect as a 40-plus-year-old woman, two different things. So it all depends on the nature of the relationship. This is my personal opinion. I'm sure there are ladies out there who believe differently. And then also it depends on the kind of guy you have. There's some guys who are very much they're sentimental, and they know these dates have value. Mm-hmm. Like personally, I know we're speaking about Valentine's Day, but I have a birthday in December. I don't care about a Christmas present, but you better show up for my birthday.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it really just depends on the type of relationship you have. Is this a dating relationship? Are you guys coupled up as partnerships?
Netflix and chill?
Yeah, exactly. It just really it depends on what. Are you newly dating? Because I think all of that dictates how you show up on Valentine's Day.
Okay, all right. So some
Okay,
comments
so
coming
hold
in.
up. Wait,
Mika,
let me respond.
Hiya.
Okay, Mika.
So,
Michelle.
Lavera, okay, when I'm talking about this conversation, I'm not talking just based out of my experience. I'm talking about conversation that we've had in among several people. Like, these are people
In
who
the
have
men's
been married
conference.
for years, and not even men's conference. It's a conversation where women and men have been there, and it's a conversation where a lot of women actually came and realized that their men also love to be gifted. These are people who have been married for years, and they will tell you over the years as their marriages have progressed, they've known how to buy gifts mechanically because it avoids an argument. Not because I care about somebody, not because I really want to show that. It's just because I avoid arguments. They say that you remember the date because when you remember the date, you remember the dates for knowing that I'm going to give this person this particular stuff on this particular date, because if I forget, I will not hear the end of it for a particular period of time. And again, the person actually who asked this question was a woman, and she said that in her household, whatever happens between her and her man is usually every significant date in their household is an exchange of gifts, and all those gifts have to be thoughtful and have to be considered in terms that the burden of romance should not be put on men alone.
Okay.
And I 100% agree with you.
Hold on, let me finish.
I agree with you. The burden of romance should not be on the man.
Yes.
Okay.
Start from the get go. When you meet somebody and you start dating, to the day that it will end, whether if it's by death, divorce, a breakup, or whatever. But usually, you will find in most romance, in most relationships, even if it's just a casual relationship, there is always that expectation where one sex is supposed to provide one for the other. All in the men's conference are asking, it's simple. We are not scared of Valentine's Day. We are not afraid of Valentine's Day. But can we meet at an equal setting? Don't let me bring you gifts and then you give me something that you give me every night as a gift.
Okay, Lavera,
yes.
Lavera, let's first of all take a couple of comments. And you know, this is one of those, you know, like topics where there's sometimes a disagreement, you know, like between, you know, like sometimes how men perceive it and also how women perceive it. And I think this is very important. Even as men, we also, you know, like have to try and understand, you know, like why it is very important to some women. And also with the ladies, you know, like also try to understand, you know, like the pressures that are on men, you know, like during this time of the year, both mentally, both physiologically, and also financially. Now, Akinyi here is saying, acheni story mob explain men's conference to scare. Akinyi anataka tu kujua about men's conference.
Okay.
And
It's gonna come.
Yeah, and then Pablo anasema, so this is an indictment on men that choices are to appreciate women all year long, and that way you have it easy on Valentine's Day, or the other one, save up all the niceties and unload on Valentine's Day.
Utajua hujui.
Okay,
Carry
and
on.
then Tony Mithiga anasema, OneMic, you guys left out McDaniels deny his blackness as a dolphin. So that, I think that was on the previous conversation.
But
Men's
he said
conference continue.
But he said his dad was black, but carry on.
Okay. All right. And then Aida says, some of us don't even care about Valentine's. Bora tumeshiba, tutalala tu.
Na
And
kushiba
then-
is relative.
Yeah, kushiba is relative. It could mean so many things. Unaweza kushiba na vitu nyingi tofauti.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
Eh.
And then Trish says, you have...
Emphasis on Kushiba.
Wait, hold on.
Trishi says you have to understand your partner's love language. You may be climbing walls and that means nothing to her. So your assumption that you are appreciating her is subjective and hinged upon your idea of what that means to you. And I think that's a very,
the key.
That's a very good
that's
comment.
The key.
Very common.
And
Yes.
another
It is a
caveat,
very good-
another caveat I'd like to add to that, those, I don't know, those 5 languages that were written in a book, those things they're not for everyone. To me, that's those 5 languages I'm not gonna trash them, but there are people who don't fit into that.
The
box.
people who don't fit those
No,
languages
Ali.
don't include everybody.
That's
Yeah.
why.
They
That's
don't
why.
include, so what I would suggest is this.
Imetoka wazungu.
This is my point. I feel like, Mika, you do have a point when you say that Valentine's, there's a heavy burden put on men to show up in a certain way. There's an expectation on Valentine's Day. But I also think that as you couple up, whether you are new in the relationship, or as you progress in your relationship, a conversation needs to be had about what the expectations for these type of holidays are. And I feel like if you are going into Valentine's Day and you are like trying to figure out what your spouse needs or what you should be doing, then you need to reevaluate your relationship overall.
Okay, and you know you're talking to a lot of
But
men.
hold up.
You know you're talking to a very big number of men.
I'm talking to about a lot of
Yeah.
men, but I think the problem here too is that men don't want to be bothered with these type of conversations. They're like, oh, this is about wanawake na what they need, na nitaenda tu nikitoka job nitanunua maua, ninunue chocolate, alafu niende nayo nyumbani. That again may not be her love language. Maybe she wants
then,
you to make
Lavera.
sure that she doesn't get to have the kids that night.
Okay, before
unajua kale kabel siwa nayo kwa zile video za YouTube.
Yeah.
I think we need one of those here.
you know, Alicia over here says,
Hold up, Uno.
Okay, sawa.
Mika.
You know, one thing. Let's go back to what Teresa said. Love languages, right? And then if I take back from what Lavera said, she's saying that these will be days whereby a man understands what the woman says. But then again, it goes back to what I bring up. When you talk about love languages, most people look at their love languages and want to communicate to their partners through their own love languages.
And that is not right.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to be communicating to your partner through their love language.
Exactly.
Now the thing is, as you have your love languages and you want your man to understand your love languages, the problem is the majority of women don't understand their men's love languages. You can ask so many people who they are dating, what is your man's love language? And they'll be confused.
But that's
They'll be
because
like,
they're not having
they'll
conversations
They'll
with
be
each
like,
other.
Yeah.
You should be having
But then the thing is,
you
the
should.
Okay, let Mika finish.
The conversation doesn't come around not because men don't want to speak about it. The conversation comes because the burden of romance has been placed on men, and most women don't assume that men want to be shown romantic feelings too. Men want to be romanticized too. But women don't look at it that way. They look at it like a man should romance me.
Okay.
Me romancing a man, I will tell you.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, okay. Ngoja Lavera kidogo. Wacha tusome comment moja quick from Sean Kang'ethe. Anasema Valentine's is an event, baba. This is where you become that guy. Proper execution on this day is a must. Let's get one thing clear. It's a woman's holiday, period. Men's conference ni siri yetu. We are not revealing. Uno.
we are not going to reveal it, but
The location or the day?
I think over
Or the
here-
activities.
the activities, because here there is in one aspect what Mika is saying, we have to. So you go, umetoka job,
Double shift. Yeah.
But you know,
CNA by the way.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Wacha nipitie 24 hour tanua maua. So you buy flowers because you know, listen, it's something not I have seen and have witnessed. I buy
Or have
flowers.
participated in.
No, the latter. So then you buy that and all that. You go home. Unafika unaingia.
Babe, I love you. Yeah.
What are you gonna get as a gift?
You're still expecting a gift?
No,
Again,
No, wait. So
as Mika said,
After all Mika said over here, you're
as
still
Mika
expecting a
said,
gift.
no, as Mika said, in the end, you get what you normally get. When is the last time you got flowers? Omosh.
So my
When is the last time you got flowers? Hold on. Before
you guys,
before.
Wait,
you
this
guys,
is not
before
about me.
Lavera.
wait,
It's
this is not
about me
this
and
is
Ali.
not about us.
It's not about me
This is
and
not
Ali.
about.
This is-
Wewe
this is-
wachana.
this is
Sisi ni ya
men's-
moderators.
Listen, men's conference. Men, when was the last time you all got flowers? When was the last time hata chocolate umeletewa?
Have you understood our love language?
Lavera, I think I want you.
Lavera, go
Lavera,
ahead.
I think before you say something, I think I want you to understand.
I am playing devil's advocate, goddammit.
I think I want you to understand. Like, and I think it's important for
Men are tired.
No, I've not said that. Those are words that were said by Uno, and those views just reflect him, and they don't reflect the views of the show. But what I'm saying is that I think it's important, for women also to wanna know, like what men think about this behind closed doors. Because if this is also a very important day to most women, where they wanna feel appreciated, they wanna feel loved, I think it's also important for them to also try to find out, like what men, because your man, like a guy who is in love with you or is dating you is most likely not gonna tell you this. It's not gonna, and guys, like are timid in such a way that if they feel that they'll say something that will rock the boat, they'd rather not say. They'd rather come to the men's conference or the Kamkunji, or not necessarily the people's Kamkunji, just where the guys meet and they talk about this. And these conversations, I don't want to say fortunately, they happen a lot. Like especially right now, if you go in as a mall in a lot of guy WhatsApp groups, it's very rare to
They're
find.
happening as we speak.
It's very rare to find guys, like being excited or looking forward to this day.
Guys do it because they know, because of the pressure. It's not because they want to do it.
And I mean, I'm sensitized to all of that. I get it. I'm sensitized to all of that, and I can understand I can understand what guys are feeling and how they're experiencing this holiday, because yes, it is commercialized to be about women. And what are you doing for your woman? Because if your woman doesn't get what she deserves or what she needs on Valentine's Day, it's not going to happen for you for a few weeks from there. You know what I mean? So you're in the doghouse.
There'll be no food.
You're in the doghouse. But I also think that you have to qualify this holiday by looking at relationships in the different stages. It depends on the stage you're in.
Can get food elsewhere.
I would imagine that if this is the beginning of a relationship where you're courting and you're still trying to get to know each other, there's a lot of pressure for you as the guy to be that romantic guy, because it's all about romanticizing and bringing the woman in. But I'm talking like if you've been in a relationship, let's assume a relationship where you have been conversing, you understand each other's love languages, you've been married for amount of time, a few years. You can't expect that you're still trying to figure out what this man's love language is. He doesn't have to tell you. You know what I mean? And I would say for if you're an intuitive woman, if you're a woman who knows your man, you know. And if you're a man who also knows your woman, you'll know. You know that, for Valentine's Day, kids, we're going to make sure mommy gets whatever. Or we're going to So just as much as you mentioned that some women are going to be sitting there expecting chocolates and flowers, some women are going to be like, you better not bring chocolates and flowers, because that's not what I want.
Some expecting a red car.
So exactly, I think it's all about communicating with your partner. And I think this pressure that you're putting on yourself on Valentine's Day, it's commercialized. It's a pressure that is imposed on you by commercialization of the holiday.
And I think also, this is what I strongly believe, because when the two of you first meet, certain foundations have to be set off the bat, who you are. Because I think the notion of when we are dating or when we first meet or first date is, what you like doing, what are your goals or whatever. What about just asking, what are your pet peeves? What don't you like? Because when you talk about, Valentine's to me is bogus.
It means nothing.
It means nothing.
Number branding.
Number brand. Well, you start branding yourself then, so that you know what to expect. But when not even but, like when you say, for me, I don't like cheese. I don't like socks being left at the door. I don't like clothes being left all over the place. Do laundry or something. Like what's your. Because when you say, when you ask pet peeve, I like watching soccer in silence. Or I like watching sports in silence. Those are the things that need to be established ahead, because now that those become, I guess, your love languages, because by the time you guys are advancing to your 1 year anniversary, you already know, like Ali apenagi kusumbuliwa akiamka 7.
He wants alone time.
He wants a long time, and you know, if it's NFL, ama it's NHL, ama soccer, ama whatever it is, that's his time. He doesn't like cheese on his whatever. You already know this. But other things, you know, I don't like being disturbed. I don't like being touched or whatever. I mean, there's so many things, but the genesis of this is when you first meet. Not you try to start sorting this out when already you're dating.
But you can also establish those as you continue to date, because you might have some faux pas where you realize, oh, you know what? I can't do that with this person because it worked for Sheila, but it's not going to work for Rebecca.
And that is why it is and that is why it is important when you first start. You already put your most extreme shit out first day, so that when you guys pick up, when we advance 6 months in, don't ask me about leaving socks at the door.
And you know,
because I told you,
and you
I
know,
don't like
based on
leaving
that,
socks at the door.
you know, based on what Uno said, I think also a big mistake that sometimes guys make in these relationships. I mean, we sometimes, you know, like are blaming the women, but a big mistake that guys make
absolutely
at the beginning of these relationships is overdoing stuff. You know, you can't sustain this.
Yeah,
you know, you
if
can't
it's not sustainable, then don't do it.
You know, you can't sustain buying flowers. But now the problem is, now the guy feels at the beginning, if he doesn't do this,
then
he's not gonna get this woman.
But
now here's where the mistake comes in.
This thing of kufungua mlango.
Yeah.
If that's not you,
don't do it.
And that's the thing. This thing of kufungua mlango.
Or pulling the chair, if that's not you,
those things are instinctive.
Yeah.
So don't go rehearsing. Don't see your mosh doing it and then say, "Ata pia mimi, you know, like I'm gonna go do that." Because the day when you stop doing it, it's gonna be a problem.
You know what my uncle told me before you read the comments? You know what my uncle told me? My uncle told me this. Whenever you find a relationship going south, he will always blame the guy. Always.
Why?
Because one, who pursued who? Chances are
it's
98.899%.
It's a guy.
It's the guy who pursued the mama.
The mama made you pursue her boss.
But you pursued.
She strategically placed herself for you to pursue.
And you pursued.
And then
and you pursued.
Which means that you had 2 left breasts. What are you supposed to do?
You pursued.
I can't with you
which
guys.
Means,
I don't know you guys.
Which means if you pursued, at the end of the day, he'll do what do you call it? He'll do an inventory. He'll do a forensic audit. And it'll come up to you. You're the one who pursued. You're the one who approached. You're the one who called. You're the one who whatever.
Yeah.
You're the one who threw the first poyo. You're the one who sent Ali.
So when do ulichimba kisima?
Wewe.
Yeah, na lazima ukunywe maji hapo.
Wewe.
Yeah.
So the fault is with the guy.
Okay.
No matter what.
Okay.
Never blame the woman. Carry on.
Let's get there's some interesting comments coming here. Yes. What I love today is I think because Lavera is here,
yes.
you know, like all those silent listeners have come out. They have come out. Yeah. I think that's Lavera's influence.
They have a branding coach.
Now Grizzly Proxy is saying, but why are we actually celebrating pagan things? Mapenzi inafaa kwa all year round from men, which is a good point.
No. Before you read the next comment, Grizzly, acha nikuulize, did your father or your grandfather, did they ever get down on one knee with a ring and propose? Carry on, Ali.
Okay, you know.
See, it also depends.
By the way,
it depends on the.
You see, their love language was
let me say something.
See, you guys
First of all, let me qualify something.
Warped in this romantic commercialization.
The views expressed today are for the people who are saying them. They don't express.
If your grandfather and your father got down on one knee to propose, if your father celebrated even before you were born, celebrated Valentine's Day. If your grandfather celebrated Valentine's Day, your grandfather and bought flowers or whatever. What was the love language for your grandfather and your father back in the day? But carry on.
Okay. Let's neutralize this. Let's read Tony Mithiga's comment.
And by the way, we have to.
We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
But Tony
as soon as you wrap up the comments,
Tony Mithiga here says, we don't need flowers. We need tickets to the racetracks and gift cards to automotive stores to fund half of the man cave. And I think this is actually a very solid comment, which is in a lot of men's minds, but they don't want to say it because they don't want to rock the boat.
Boy child is under siege.
For me, I also think as a woman, I also think that you don't have to tell me that. I know my man. I'm going to go buy what he needs.
Okay, all right. Let's hear what Mika has to say. Mika.
I'm with you on that one,
That's why
Labra.
I said earlier. That's why I said you will hear many women saying it's very hard to gift a man because most of the time they have what they need. But if you look around, men don't hide what they love. It's right there.
Of
His
course.
favorite sports team will be rubbing your face every day.
I 100% agree with you.
DIY itakuwa hapo mbele yako. Like right on your face. You don't need to even think too much to gift a man.
Okay.
So yeah, Tony is right, and I agree with what Lavera said. If you know your person, you will know what to give.
Exactly.
Okay, and then Trish says
You don't have to ask.
you all need to learn to be vulnerable with your person. It comes with the trust, though. And for some men, vulnerability is not that thing. You know, and here I'm just talking for
Maybe that's
I'm talking for men.
That's for the white guys, probably.
I think a really
You
good
guys-
discussion we should have at some point. A really good discussion we should have at some point is this question of vulnerability, and it's a reason why a lot of women in our generation are going for the younger guys because the younger guys are in touch with their feelings.
Okay, all right. No, that's a conversation.
I thought the younger guys think. I thought the younger guys think.
The only feelings that they're feeling right now is to be Ben 10.
Because the older men they don't want to be vulnerable and they're just up in there making life difficult for themselves.
How many mamas?
Okay,
How
you
many
guys-
mamas are getting married to 25-year-olds?
Okay. Let's.
because those 25-year-olds are coming home and saying, "Girl, I don't feel good today."
That's a good topic.
Lakini wewe unajikaza
They are
kimwanaume
coming.
and you're messing it all up.
Okay, let's
know
hear.
what?
Let's read another quick comment here. Hey, Maze Leo, I don't know what happened.
How
today.
did men's
It's Valentine's.
conference become men
Valentines?
and young
Valentines.
chaps?
This is the reason why there's men's
This is
Boss,
part. Yeah, this is just now
boss,
outlining why men's conference is
tunafungua
there.
roho.
So
And we
Grizzly-
have brought the ladies in.
Grizzly-
Ndio wajue ni aje.
Grizzly brought another interesting question, which I did not think would come up here. Grizzly is curious as to whether Muslims have or celebrate this Valentine's.
I was going to ask that.
What?
Grizz,
And
thank you.
Hey,
Speak to that, my friend.
Okay.
Yes. Floor is yours, bro.
let me tell you one of the reasons why I sometimes just love being Muslim is because kuna vitu zingine there are certain things
Jiachilie.
okay, here's the
Valentine's
thing.
is not even...
So
Christian.
religiously, in fact, in Muslim households, can't even start talking about Valentine's. Now, as couples, mnaweza kuagree nyi wenyewe, because even Muslim couples, there are some who have, their Valentine's dinners, nanini. But the good thing is that these are things that are not emphasized, they're not prioritized, it's not, for the most part, I can't speak for everyone, but for the most part, if nothing happens on Valentine's, it's just it's just another day. It doesn't become like a big deal. Ile like wewe hukuninunulia maua, wewe hukuniletea chocolate, yule jirani ameletewa, my coworkers wameletewa. It doesn't go there. But again, I'm not speaking for everyone because we are also not bulletproof or immune to the commercialization of Valentine's Day. Mika.
So you guys don't celebrate Valentine's? Oh, sorry, sawa.
Yuko Dubai. This shit, hii kitu ilikuwa kubwa. It was a big deal.
No, Dubai. That's Dubai.
Wanatembea na marozi zao wameshikilia. I guess what? It was not Dubai alone. You could see even on TV that was coming from Saudi, Oman, all of them, Valentine's was a big day.
I don't know about
Like,
Saudi.
I agree.
Maybe Oman.
Goja. No. It's not about as you said, it's nothing tied on religion. It was more of just a commercialized fad that was passing through. Like people who are married enjoy themselves and stuff like that. Like the commercialization of it, yes, it was such a big deal and everything. But you will not see, there's nothing tied like religiously to this day.
Yeah.
It's just a day that was there for people to celebrate and enjoy and go out and to spend time with your loved ones. Like the flowers that are being sold, you will see the dealerships parading how many cars have been tied with bows and flowers. They were delivered. You'll find some sheikh has gone and dropped some flowers from a helicopter to his sheikhs. Like it was such a big deal that it was actually being showed like this is what was being done, but there was no mix of religion with it. But on the commercialization aspect of it, it was such a big thing.
Yeah, and of course places like Dubai, like they imitate, like everything that happens in America and in the West, like, because that's also another Muslim country where you'll find alcohol freely flowing. So to me, Dubai sometimes is not, like sometimes the best representation of what you expect in Muslim societies and all different Muslim societies across the world. They're actually generally very different, just like Mika was pointing out. But real quick, I really want to read this comment from Pablo, although time yet is running out. But Pablo says, at the men's conference, we have agreed that a declaration will be passed. Hatupangwingwi. We shall from now on also demand flowers, breakfast in bed, shoulder massage, and must be with some nice scented oil, not Arimis, chocolates, expensive wine, etc., etc. So,
you don't need to demand. If you know your woman and that's what you want, you will get it.
That's
higher.
Okay. All right.
I wonder
if your woman, if you've already conveyed those are your needs, your woman will deliver. She knows what you need.
Even the young guy, I'm just asking for a friend.
Yes.